Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk Climate. I'm Jennifer Giordano, and today we're bringing you a special research episode. We'll be taking a look at our latest American Climate Perspective survey titled, More Americans Are Concerned About Climate Change Than You Think. I'm joined by Nicole Hill, ecoAmerica Research and Marketing Manager, who co-authored the report along with ecoAmerica Executive Director Megan Spicer. Let's kick off this episode with a few questions. Nicole, the climate movement made great efforts to energize Americans and the world to take action in 2021. Can you give us an overview of this survey and explain its significance given the time we're in right now?
Absolutely. And thank you to everybody who's tuning in today. So as you just said, the climate movement has made great efforts in the last year. And what's weighing on many advocates' minds is the question of whether or not the country will deliver on its climate promises, particularly after a lack of progress over the past several years. So ecoAmerica conducted this survey to gauge the level of concern among adults in the United States. It's really important too to understand if people think that others around them are concerned. So we asked that in the survey as well. And we also asked how people's concern has changed in the past year and where these concerns stem from, what factors are influencing climate concern in the US. And finally, this research tried to understand how satisfied Americans are with the action their local communities are taking on climate change. Local communities can play a big role in addressing the climate crisis, so it's an important point to understand.
Thank you, Nicole. This is a timely survey. So just how concerned is the US adult population today?
I'll get into it, but first I just want to go over some methodology. So the methodology, the top lines, and the full report can be found on ecoAmerica's website, and they're also linked in the video description below. This report was fielded on December 22nd, 2021, and it yielded 1,067 complete adult responses. In interpreting the survey results, it is important to note that all sample surveys are subject to possible sampling error, and the margin of error for this sample is plus or minus 3%. And now we can dive into the findings. So this first graph shows that 45% of Americans report being very concerned about climate change and 30% report being somewhat concerned, totaling 75%. However, if we take a look at the second bar, you'll see that only 14% of Americans think that those around them are very concerned. That's less than a third of the reality. And 37% say that they think those around them are somewhat concerned. So while 75% of Americans voice being somewhat or very concerned, only about half of them think others around them feel the same.
Well, that's a significant gap between those who believe others around them are concerned and the reality of 45% feeling very concerned.
Right. And next, we'll dive into how this concern has changed. So we asked the sample, how has your concern about climate change changed in the past year? You'll see 43% of Americans report that in the past year, they've become more concerned about climate change. Among Democrats, that's even higher, 62%. And despite perceptions to the contrary, over 1 in 5, actually 23% of Republicans said they're more concerned about climate change too. And then finally, 42% of independents say that they're more concerned. That aligns pretty closely with the national average.
Okay, so the concern is growing. What might be influencing concerns?
So we know that the majority of Americans are concerned about climate change, but taking it one step further, we investigated what factors were playing a role in that concern. So changing seasonal weather patterns influence climate change concerns for 58% of Americans. And 46% report that experiencing a climate change related event, this includes wildfires, severe storms, flooding, and extreme heat, that influenced concerns. So just about 1/3 of Americans are influenced by the information they seek out, and even fewer, 29%, credit national politics and media. I want to point out here that only 15% of Americans are reporting that they're being influenced by their friends, families, or colleagues, which may partially explain why fewer Americans think that those around them are concerned than actually are, because perhaps people aren't talking about climate change and they're not talking about it with the people that they're close to as much as maybe we think.
It makes sense that if few people are influenced by their friends, family, and colleagues, and that few people think those around them are concerned about climate change, maybe concerned people need to talk about climate change with the people close to them. At the American Climate Leadership Summit 2021, speakers from the health sector recommended making climate change a dinner table conversation.
Yes, I do remember that. And so now we'll take a deeper look at one piece of this last question in particular. So like we just saw, many Americans report that changing seasonal weather patterns influence their climate change concern more so than other factors. In particular, there's a few groups whose climate concern is particularly influenced by changing seasonal weather patterns. This includes 72% of Democrats, 65% of younger Americans between 18 years of age and 29 years of age, and 61% of females. And while it's fewer, I will point out too that it's notable that roughly 2 in 5, 39% of Republicans report being affected by changing seasonal weather patterns too.
Thanks, Nicole. Interesting that changing seasonal weather patterns is the most reported factor influencing climate change concern. Americans are seeing the climate changing. Do you have any other findings for today?
Yeah, I'll share one more. So finally, we found that community members are reporting low satisfaction with climate action. So despite the fact that 70% of Americans think it's their local community's responsibility to address climate change, that's something ecoAmerica's survey revealed last year, few are currently satisfied with the action that their local communities are taking. So nationally, only about 21% total are satisfied. That's 7% saying that they're very satisfied and 14% saying that they're satisfied. Many Americans are feeling neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, and a significant number are feeling dissatisfied. So this is a real call to action for local communities to step up and raise their climate ambition. 70%, like I said, of Americans think it's their local community's responsibility to address climate change, but so few are satisfied with the action being taken. So it really presents an opportunity. And that's all I have for our research today. I just want to thank all the listeners for your interest and for your attention.
Thank you, Nicole. It's clear we need to accelerate our efforts. Americans can turn their concern into action by joining ecoAmerica's American Climate Leadership Summit on March 28th through 31st. We link to it below in the video description. We encourage you to go to ecoamerica.org to download the full report and social toolkit. Please join us in sharing these findings with your network. Let us know if you have feedback on this episode or ideas about future topics. We're at research@ecoamerica.org, and join us every Thursday for live episodes of Let's Talk Climate. You can engage with us using the hashtag Let's Talk Climate. Subscribe and follow @ecoAmerica on social for the latest research, resources on climate action and advocacy. See you soon.